Good evening, everyone. I'm Kavita Kalaiselvi. I'm a HR consultant. On behalf of Talentegrity Consulting Services, I welcome all of you for this live session. Talentegrity is a HR firm. We do HR consulting services that include HR head as a service to small and mid-sized companies. We also do recruitment services. Recently, we started this career management series where we cover career opportunities for various fields in the industry. We bring industry practitioners to discuss about it. This series is called Career Discussion with Kavita. Today, our topic is career opportunities for electrical and electronic engineering students. We generally call this branch as EEE. What is the industry expectation from EEE students? Let us discuss about it. We have two panelists with us today. Let me put a disclaimer here. Both the panelists are here at their personal capacity, expressing their personal views. They do not represent their present or past employers. This is purely an honorary service by both of them. Let me introduce Mr. Vikas Sharma. He did his electrical engineering from MIT Muzaffarpur in 1995, postgraduate diploma in management from IIM Lucknow, general management certificate course from IIM Ahmedabad. He holds a professional experience of about 25 years. His experience include construction of oil handling facilities, operation of oil handling facilities, development of intelligent instrument device for analyzing internal health of oil handling infrastructure, installation and commissioning of HT system, design, installation and commissioning of fire protection system in 160-acre premises, design and construction of various facilities for research function. Privileged to host you, Vikas.
Thank you.
Next on the panel is Ms. Priya Selvaraj. Priya did her engineering from College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University in 1996, followed by MS in Electrical Engineering from University of South Florida. Priya loves the domain of renewable energy. She has backed her passion with deep research and solid corporate track record of around 20 years in solar and semiconductor process and product development. During her graduate studies, her team has created the world record in cadmium telluride PV technology, funded by NREL. Priya owns 3 US patents from her engineering works. During her corporate career, Priya has completed 1 gigawatts of solar projects globally. She's currently the general manager at Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy and is a country business head for power electronics business. She's previously held senior roles at Sun Edison, Moser Baer, and Intel. We're very happy to welcome you, Priya, to this show.
Thank you for the introduction, Kavita, and thank you for having me in your show. And I'm really looking forward to interact with the students.
Great. Okay, so without much ado, we'll get on to the show directly. Let me start with Vikas. What are the different roles existing for fresh electrical engineers in public sector companies? Because that is one area where students always want to know more information about. Vikas.
Basically, electrical engineers, what you said, EEE, covers electronics also, communication also, and electrical area also. So, electrical engineers do the job related to power system, generation and providing power. In NHPC, if you see, it's a generation of electricity through water, that's hydropower. In NTPC, it's a generation of power through fossil fuel, that's coal. They are producing from coal. In power grid, they are doing the distribution of power to that ST line, cross country India line. So job different companies and different PSUs. In electricity board of government, state government, and now various distribution companies, they are distributing the power and taking the power to the end consumers. So it's basically a distribution of power So role changes with the company. Once you are in one company, your role is different. Once you go into another company, role becomes different. In sale and will, Steel Authority of India Limited and will, lots of opportunities are also for electrical engineers. They are in steels, they are making machines for the country, and their basically job is for electrical engineer to upkeep the electrical system of that company infrastructure. In wire sector, basically, electrical engineers are working as a design engineer for the protection of their infrastructure. There is something called cathodic protection. Cathodic protection, by that, they protect this infrastructure in refineries, in pipelines across the world. So there they are doing research. And even if you are an electrical engineer, if you are working, the job may not be limited to electrical field only. You may be working for a contract and material section, dealing with the service and material contract. So you will be doing procurement for your company. You will be procuring machines. You will be procuring service contracts. Maybe dealing with the manufacture of equipment. May be involved in operation of equipment, because electrical engineer also do the operations of the machines, because they are required to take care of the operation. Electrical engineers have a vast opportunity. Nowadays, as Priya is expert in solar power is the buzzword. In every installation, they are saying that solar has to come, and solar facilities are being installed. So upkeeping of that solar facility is also opening opportunity for electrical engineer. So if we see the things become different, and in research institute like the BRP, our Atomic Research Institute, or ISRO, or NPCIL, lot of research activities are going on, and electrical engineer and electronics engineer have an edge over all other engineers who are doing research there, because all the machines, all the instruments that will be operated by electrical engineer or electronics engineer only. I have had experience of dealing with the BRP for 5 years, and they are deeply involved in this research activity. So it's not that if you are an electrical engineer, you can't do electronics engineering. You have to do anything which your company demands. You may have to go into the communication part also. So it's all become different. And in research organization like ISRO and BRP, now salary is very good, stability is there. Normally they are in good place, just like BRP in Mumbai. So you are stable there and you are getting a good paycheck. If you are working for a hall that's Aeronautics Limited, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, you may be contributing to nation by making helicopters and planes. They are doing the maintenance also. Whatever plane is coming, they are doing maintenance of it. And that's the electronic system, that helicopter or a flight system. So if you see, electrical engineer can do generations, transmission, distribution of power. You can be working on an advanced automation system. You can be working on PLC control system. So it's not limited only to the electrical engineers. So scope is very vast. Once you enter as a electronics engineer or the electrical engineer, company has some inbuilt training facility. They will send you for that training and make you expert in that area. So that is also there, and cooling period is also there for 6 months, 1 year to learn this activity. So to getting into the research mode, it takes time. But one line of caution is there. If one wants to get into the government sector or a PSU, it's not far away than that it will be going to be privatized in next 5 years or maximum in 10 years. All will be privatized. So that whatever the stability one is searching for in a government job, that's not there. One has to be there to do hard work and contribute to the fullest, make your image there, so that you can sustain your job. Keeping a job is also a challenge nowadays. It's not that once you are in a government sector, you are very much secure. So salary wise, it's good. Salary is very good, on par with the private or better than private, I will say. But initially 5 years is good, but after that you have to make your way. That's all.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, there are so many roles for an entry level uh, job in for electrical and electronics engineering students. That's like, I think it is. You've covered a lot of things, right, from design to manufacturing, operations, VNC, solar, and everywhere.
That's why I have given in my profile also. In the 25
Mm,
years of service, I have done numerous type of job.
okay, and all the jobs that you mentioned, freshers can apply only with
Yes,
engineering degree.
yes. Even if I am a senior level, freshers are coming to that indirectly. So more or less, freshers are working for us, and we are guiding them. So
Okay.
freshers can come and they contribute more. They have the more learning capacity to give. And so once you give direction, they are helping a lot. And they are
Okay.
contributing a lot.
Wonderful. Great. Uh, Priya, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, Kavita. Yes.
So, how's the scenario in the private sectors? What are the kind of roles can engineering students who are studying EEE can expect? What are the roles existing in different private sectors?
Okay, so usually in private sectors, for entry level engineers, they usually hire them as trainees. So they actually kind of they get an opportunity to go through various roles inside the company, various functions inside the company. So they come with an MBA, they are called as a management trainee. But if you look at core just technical background, then they are either graduate trainees or just fresh trainees. So in the first 1 year, they get a lot of support from various functions. They are hired by one particular function, but depending on the manager whom they're hiring, they exposed to various functions, starting from design, design of the product, or any team that has any kind of simulations that they do. They get there's a procurement also, even in procurement, because these are technical components that gets procured. There's some kind of technical background is also needed when you go for procurement activities. So they get exposed in procurement functions. Then, in my case, from where I'm coming from, especially in solar and wind, the project construction is also a very critical function. So even in the construction, there are various engineerings, and electrical engineering is a very key function there. So there also they get exposure, and then after that, once the project is over, usually it gets handed over to service team. So the service team is responsible for doing the operation and maintenance of the power plant. So even there, an electrical engineering or electronic engineering is needed, and they are called service engineers. So there are various functions they get exposed to, depending on the how they get hired. They either go on a rotation program or they get attached to a function. And after in the first year, it's more like trainee, and the company really observes them on how they are contributing with respect to the job that they're given. Like nobody is going to give them a big project on day one. They will get trained, obviously. But during the training, how your performance is. And based on that, at the end of 1 year, they will make that position as a permanent position and they become an engineer. So once an engineer, then the senior engineer, then they have a slow, every few years they get moved to the next position depending on their performance and how they do in the job. So that's kind of the functions. I specifically talked about the functions
Hmm.
because this kind of functions exist in all kinds of sectors. So I'm coming
Okay.
from energy sector, right? So I touched base a little bit on energy sector, but the functions exist even in another sector that you go for. For example, let me take um, um, just a design of some electrical engineering product. So even there, they would have a design engineering team, and there'll be a sales team, there'll be a service team, and there'll be an installation team. So there'll be all kinds of functions that will be involved for that kind of sector.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Priya. So, I mean, what I see from both private sectors and public sectors, there are a lot of roles existing in under different functions in different sectors.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to add here is if you're an electrical and electronic engineer, you can apply for an electrical job. You can also apply for an electronic based company. It's not like you have to purely go only for power transmission as a hardcore electrical engineer. I think sometimes there's that kind of um, uh, perception is
Mindset.
there. Even in the way when the companies come to campus recruitment, actually some companies who come for recruiting electronic engineers can actually recruit EEE students also. They can also understand. Maybe networking is something might not fit for EEE students, but most of the things would fit for EEE students as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so maybe next we will talk about how should they apply for all these entry level jobs. Maybe we'll start PSU. If somebody wants to get into PSU, uh, these roles, whatever you mentioned, Vikas, what should the student do? What should they prepare themselves for?
In PSU, there are two ways to get into the PSU. One is campus interview. 10% of recruitment is done through campus, and 90% is done through
Okay,
gate. Nowadays, most of the company, 90% of company are recruiting through gate only, because gate gives one edge that the person is technically competent. Gate normally based about technical competence. So that will ensure that the person is very technical capable, and that's why gate score is taken as a reference. And it's a scale is as per the companies. If you
okay,
go into wild sector, it's very high, gate score is required. And once you come on the ladder, the gate score, this gate score is required. At that time of admission, the students have some problem also. Because students are getting admission in the best of the IIT at one part. The second part, they are getting job in PSU. So they have to choose between IIT and PSU, because that was something big dilemma. Even in IITs, they are getting a stipends and they are securing their future. But if they are not going there, they are coming to PSU, that they are straight away coming to a job. So
okay,
that decision has to be made, because once you are scoring 99% style, you are getting an admission in IIT Kanpur. Another point, you are getting a job in a ONGC. So it's all depend on the economical background and priority also of the students. So once you clear that gate score, you are shortlisted in a company, then you have to go for a group discussion and interview where they are testing other competency. So in that interview, they are not going to ask you a technical question, or in a group discussion, they are not going to ask you about anything about electrical engineering. So there you have to know about things happening all around us, and the basic general knowledge, basic ethics. So it's all these are required in the interview. So basically, if you want to come to PSU, first make your mind that you are going to join a PSU, and then try to clear a gate score, because it's also not easy to clear a gate score, get a high gate score, I would say. So once you are getting a high score and you want to get a job in PSU, that's okay. And second option is also that first complete your MTech if you are getting high score, because only high score people will get a chance in PSU. Once you complete MTech, then try to come into this any ONGC or any company like this. Even after MTech, if you are going to BRC, ISRO, or even R&D facilities of oil sectors or R&D facilities of SAIL, most of the PSU have R&D facilities, and now they recruit MTech only. It's limited for the MTech only. MTech student can come and join. So separate examination is there. So it's better to do MTech and then come, or if financial background is very important, it's not so strong, you will straight away come to the job also. Because nowadays people are getting engineering degree at the age of 21, so still time is left for them. If entry level in any PSU or in a job at 21, that means you have a long career at 39, 40 years ahead. So in initial times, you can go for MTech if you want to in technical field. If you do not want to get a technical field, you just want to use this in PSU as a launching pad and going for MBA and something different aspiration is there. So it's all lot depends on the students' priority, why they want to come into PSU. It's for the launch pad or for the job security or for just an experience for 5-10 years and then they want to switch over to another job. Because initially pay salary is very good. So also they want to get into PSU, that's something 1 lakh plus they will be getting from the day one. So what they are not getting normally in software field nowadays. So that may be one option. So a student has
And
to decide.
okay, go ahead, Vikas.
Yes, so I will only suggest whoever is saying, so decide your priority, what you want to do. You want to do M.Tech, you want to do a MBA, or you want to do a 39 years of your service in a PSU. Because PSU is also not going to exist after 1 decade. After 10 years, it will be very less. Even after 5 years, the way government is going to do this is Sep2020, and they are going that in the strategic sector only they will do business with a limited number of players. So PSU is not going to be for a very long time. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And generally, we see whoever is joining any PSU, there's always a long stint. I mean, they're very stable and they continue to stay in those companies for a very long time. Is there any specific reason? Because we see that between private sector and
Yes,
public sector.
but now I will say it's an old story now because
Okay.
opportunity was there, and the people with that mindset were coming to the PSU. If you see 20 years back, getting to PSU was not easy. So a lot
Yeah.
of competition was there. Once you clear that competitive exam, you will get into it. And the second thing, if you are in a PSU, lots of transfers were there. So one has to be get ready for that. And 95 onwards, or I will say 2000 onwards, software has come as a dominant player in the job market. There you are working in a metro company, so you have a more stable life, but certainly more stressful life also. So it's all priority, I will say.
Okay.
So
Great.
yes.
So, I mean, so you mean to say the students need to have the priority a little bit clear on what they want to do? Is GATE exam enough? I mean, or will there be any separate exams by the
No,
companies?
gate exam is enough. Gate exam is enough, and then they have to aptitude test and all those things, so which they will clear. So that's not a bit
Okay.
tough. But clearing the gate is a very tough thing.
Yeah, that is right. No, earlier companies used to have different exams on their own, I guess. I think now
But
GATE score has
nowadays,
been taken. Yeah.
now with the technology, it's easy to make one exam, and you see in other field also, in banking sector also, because if you are in HR, you see banking sector also in others job. That unified exam is there. So one exam you are clearing, you will get admission in any medical college or in any engineering college. So if you see 20 years back, you are going to give IIT exam, you are going to give Roorkee exam, IIT Roorkee, you are going to give others engineering examinations. So a lot of examination you have to give. Nowadays, that's not the story. So it's better also. That's
Yeah. Great. Thank you, Vikas. Okay, so Priya, my question before I start about the opportunities and all that, I want to know from you, how did you develop your interest to solar energy?
Okay. Um, well, to be very honest, and I think actually I don't think I really started off with saying, yeah, I want to do solar, right? It was not that. I went to US to do my masters, and I wanted to do my masters in electrical engineering. So I started off with masters in electrical engineering, and I started working with the professor in solar. So that's where I got the funding. So that's when I really got into it. But when I really started doing it, yes, it was very interesting. And my full coursework, I did in semiconductor, and I did my research in solar. When I finished my masters, I really wanted to work in solar. So I was looking for something in solar. This is in 98, 99 time frame, right? That's when I was looking for a job. But the opportunities in solar was really not much. So that was not a solar was. I think I was too early in the game. I think. But if I had gone in solar at that time, I think I would have really made big by this time. But anyway, everything happens for a reason. So I started working in semiconductors. Semiconductor was the hot market at that time, and I
Hmm.
did my whole job experience in the early days in semiconductors. But still, whatever the device physics between semiconductor and solar, it's the same. So in fact, semiconductor is a much more complicated device physics than solar. Solar is just a simple diode, whereas in semiconductors you work with MOSFETs and more complicated devices. So then I was looking at coming back to India for personal reasons, and I landed with a good opportunity in solar, and I decided to just stay with solar. And then I started off with solar, and that's when India was just starting in solar. So that was I think 2008. That's when India was just launching the policies and everything, and from then on I just stayed with solar. So that's kind of how I came into and how my interest developed in solar.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Oh, yeah. How did you develop the interest towards PSU, Vikas? Because you entered PSU long back, and I mean, it just happened, or you were,
Yes,
interested in that, and you
but
got into that.
what you said 25 years ago, if you 25 years back, it was the PSU or the government job was the main thing. So getting into the private and the opportunity was also very less in the private companies, I would say, and the more stability was there in PSU. So I have opted for the PSU, and once I get to develop into it, I am working for a wild company. So salary and package, whatever they are compensation they are giving, that's I think that's was very good enough, and they were giving more and more opportunity for me to develop myself. They have sponsored my education in I am Ahmedabad. They have sponsored my education and I am Lucknow. So a lot of time and leaves they have given me to develop, and again they have given me one time to go to MDI Gurgaon. So it's all this opportunity costs something, and each company is bearing these things, and they have given different opportunities in different area after every 5 years or 10 years. But the job rotation was there. I worked with a very prestigious project with BARC and taken that as a I will say what as a challenge, because once you are
Okay.
getting into the research field, it's not a very easy thing to get into it after a normal education.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I will say 6 months, I was getting into that research group only, that how to do research and go through all the journals and papers. And company was allowing me this that time. So you go and study. They allow me to be in library. All those things which the company was giving just kept me in the company also. So what if I would have done in 2000, this, things maybe have been different. So I may be in a different job. So it's all depend how you are there.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay, Priya, what is the industry expectation from a fresher, if I may ask you, for all this from the Triple E students? What is the expectation from the industry for their entry level job, obviously?
Yeah, so I think be strong in your basics, right? I mean that's a fundamental. Nobody is going to, as I just said before, nobody is going to give you a big project on day one. But just be strong with your basics. I do understand sometimes uh, we are not having the the opportunity to learn the basics. Especially, I think I have recently looked into some of the college curriculum and also the teaching way also. Maybe it's not really some things are not really getting to you on the basics, but I would say we have to make an extra effort as the student has to make an extra effort, because now so much information is available on YouTube, right? For example, you could take so many classes like MIT classes are all free, and if you need to learn a particular concept, just on that concept there are so many YouTube classes, right? So you just, I would say, go and learn your basics. So if I go to hire a fresh grad, like what I do is I look at their resume and ask questions only from your resume. If you have done, if you say that you have done a project, I will ask questions only from that project, and I'll ask only the basics. I won't ask you would have said I developed something really big. I'm not going to ask all those things. I just want to know whether you know the basics.
Hmm.
Why again is okay. If you have, yeah, can you hear me? I just lost everyone for a few seconds.
Yeah,
Can you hear me,
you
Kaita?
may, yeah, you may have to just repeat it because for last few seconds we couldn't hear you.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, if I'm looking at somebody's resume, I will first look into if you have done, say, you've done project, 3, 4 projects that you're saying you've done. I am not going to ask the big things on the project. I'm really going to go to the basics of the project. Why I'm asking this question is, have you taken an effort to learn the basics before you do the project, or before you even say that you put it in your resume? Right? So basics, take, take whatever subject that you really like and learn the basics on that and try to do project in that subject.
Hmm.
Okay, so and again, when you join a company, you will be put in very function because a fresher for a company is we have to train them. That's how we look at a fresher. You're not going to be coming and giving a full contribution from day one. So we have to train you. But for training, I need to really know do you know the basics? Okay, and how sincere are you in making an effort to try to understand the basics? So those are things we'll be really looking at as a fresher. So if you have to prepare for a job, please try to learn the basics.
Okay. And any specific topics when you say basics in Triple E? I mean, uh, or is
Well,
it a very
it
crude
depends.
question?
Yeah, it just depends on the, like, for example, if you're coming to apply for a solar, right? Solar job, for
Hmm.
example. So I mean, you need to understand what, as I just said, solar is really fundamental mechanism. The device that converts one energy to another energy is a diode.
Hmm.
So if you're saying you have done something, then I will ask you to draw a diode IV curve, for example. That's a basic of a diode, right? What is forward bias? What is reverse bias? Why does a diode behave like that? Those are really really basics that you get taught in undergrad. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you go in electrical machines, then you need to be understanding the fundamental concepts of how a generator operates. Okay, so how a motor operates. Those are fundamental. What is the key principle behind that operation? Okay? When generator is operating in this way, what is the key principle behind it? So those are the basic questions that you need to be understanding before you apply for a job.
Okay, not necessarily the latest one in the solar energy and things like that. So
No, no, no,
it will
not
be
at all.
based on
No,
whatever they have. Okay, it is their
yeah,
curriculum,
only
whatever they are
based.
learning. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly, because I mean, you are going to get on the job training. You are going to learn more things as you join a company and travel. I mean, start working for a company. So those things you will automatically acquire those skills. And again, that depends on the interest level that and the effort that you're putting. But when you get into a job beginning, that this is what a company basically looks for, basics. And I would also, I don't know if we have a different question that can cover this. One of the things I would also strongly recommend is go for internships, right? I think Kavita, you having a question to address this,
It's
or
okay. You can please add. That's
yeah.
absolutely fine.
So really, from your second year, try to go for small internships. Like when you are in second year, like maybe December when you get a month off, at least go for internship for 2 weeks. Right then, in your summer, you get like 2 months off. Go for an internship for a month. So from second year, you keep starting this. When you're in final year, you can pick a project even from the internship that you've done. So maybe one of the companies you really liked, or one with somebody you worked in some company, you developed a good professional relationship with that person. Then you can even talk to that person, get them as mentor, and start a project with that. These are the things that will open up job opportunities also when you go to the final year. So don't wait for your college to tell you go for internship. And nowadays even internship, I think I heard that they pay some money and get some certificate. that you would
True,
just
true. Yeah,
attend
yeah. We
something for paying. That's not internship. You really just go for a company. Be with in a company, and internships is not that difficult to get, right? But you need to have a contact. Go through your college alumni, get a list of people who are working in various companies in the city where you're living, and reach out to them. And I'm sure they will take you as in. Everybody will be happy to support the upcoming graduates.
Great. So this is an important point I wanted to, lay emphasis on, this internship part as well. Even, as a HR, I would also recommend all the students to just take up some internship in your second year, third year, whenever, you have your semester breaks. It is not that, you're going to learn everything in that 4 week, 6 week and all that, but what I would call it is an exposure. You will have a good exposure of how the company operates, what is in it. You've been very bookish, in the college, and when you go to the company, you will see, whatever you've been looking at it. If you read about turbine, if you actually see the turbine, the impact is totally different. So that that is what is more important for you. That I would call it as an exposure in your field. That will
Yeah.
give you, that sometimes you guys can develop interest, specific interest on a particular thing, and then start looking at how things are working, and then start working in specific areas.
Yeah, and this also, gives you a chance for professional networking, right? That's a very,
Yeah,
very important thing when you're wanting looking to a career advancement. Okay, you have to start it like really early, and this is when you get opportunity to build your network.
absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, we were talking about internships. So, because this public sector companies also, do they have anything like an internship?
Yes, public sector companies not only giving internships to engineers, even to the diploma holder, to
Wow.
ITI, because the PSU has a responsibility towards the nation. But only thing is that if you want to get an internship in a good PSU, you have to score high in your second year exam,
Okay.
third semester. But they were saying in third semester you have to score good marks. Otherwise, they will not take you. Once you have a high score, you have to apply there. And normally, people are getting nominated for the internship also. In PSU, normally they are not paying, but still some facilities are given if it's available, like hostels and these things they provide to the students, even conveyance is provided to them. And people are very cooperative also.
Hmm.
And in electrical sector, what we are talking about, electrical engineering, electrical is things which you can't see. You have to experience it. Even
Hmm.
in production or even in motor, what Priya was saying that if you want to get, you must know the difference between DC motor and AC motor. Because once you are getting into books, you will not get to know. It's all theories are there. But what will happen in actual field that you have to know that even with the DC motor things are because DC motor is now more active, more useful than a AC motor. So that difference has to be known. Because in interviews, the people will straight away say if you are traveling in a train, how that fan in the train is moving. So
Hmm.
people get confused in that. Or just ask very simple question, what is the three-phase voltage? And they straight away come with 440 voltage or something like that. So they will just ask you a basic question, if 440 is the three-phase voltage, what will be the single-phase voltage? Or phase-to-phase voltage is 440, then what will say? And the people do not answer. So if you are not answering this basic question, you will not be selected. So once you are doing the internship, you are knowing all those things, what is happening there. If you are in a power generation company, you are knowing how the power is produced. If you are in a electronics company or a company like if you are in a research wing of like IOCL or research wing of HPCL, you will be knowing finer details of solar also. So they are working, the dedicated team is working on the solar energy also. So whatever the field they are working, they take those people and they give them a good exposure. And if you have a good performance there, after MTech you may be inducted there. That you have a very good experience. Even after engineering degree, the training is there for 1 year. So they take it. So lot of opportunity is there, but once we say if you are seeing a product in a TV, normally you use it. And if it's good, then you will reuse. Otherwise, you are not using it again. So core value is very important. Core basic concepts should be clear to the student. They may get into internship or they may get into any company, but if that sustain, they will not sustain if they are not very competent with all those basic knowledge. Basic knowledge is there going to be there with him for a long life. So I will say yes, internship they should try. They will get in PSU. They will get in private company also. If they are not getting in private company, they should get something hand-on experience somewhere. Because for an electrical engineer, that hand-on experience is very much required. If you can't understand the function of a fan or a AC, how can you expect to do much better in other area where you will be selected in any company? So in that internship, this all concept is made clear.
Okay, wonderful. So another one interesting thing, what we generally find, for triple E engineers, they generally, I mean, see, it is electrical and electronics engineers is what we call them. But when they get into the work, there is a lot of collaboration between different engineers, right? I mean, they may have to talk to mechanical engineers, they may have to talk to civil engineers, structural engineers, and a lot of engineering collaboration happens there. And I've seen that people moving from one engineering to another engineering, they become expert in that. Is that something that really happens in the industry?
Yes, in if you see product team, if in the product team, lot of interactions are there between the electronics engineer, electrical engineer, or what we call instrumentation engineers, specifically related with the instrumentation engineers or a mechanical engineer, or with the marketing team also. The product team consists of all the person, and they have to make a product successful. So if you have a knowledge of everything, it's not only I will say engineering, if you have knowledge of marketing also, some bit knowledge of operation also, then you are going to develop a good product. And then that developing the good product requires a insight into all the subjects. You may be a specialist in one area, but you must have some knowledge of other area also. So once you go up in the ladder and if you are going in a company at high position, that you have to know everything. It's not that a specific area command will be only required. So for fresher level, yes, they can get into it. So gradually, once they go up, electrical and electronics are more successful, I will say.
Okay. Any views on this, Priya? I mean, as they grow, do you see them switching to a different field or something?
Switching in from electrical engineering core function to a civil engineering core function.
Something like that. They develop that expertise because they are too much into that, and then they grow.
Yeah,
in that.
I have not seen kind of switching, but once you grow inside an organization and then you become a manager and you grow as a managerial role, obviously you'll be overseeing all the functions. It's not only, even though I am an electrical engineer, I just don't oversee only that function, right? I have various kind of functions reporting under me. It's electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, then industrial engineering, because we're also responsible for factories. So in factories, we have industry engineering, production engineering. So as I said, procurement is another function where also engineering people only take procurement roles mostly. So yeah, once you grow in your career, you collaborate with all the functions, and you need to have an understanding of how the various engineering functions work. But if you are into hardcore technical and you are growing in a hardcore technical role, you would probably stick to one engineering, but you will still be interacting with other functions. And it's not just one, right? You should have the effect of your decisions on the other engineering functions as well. So that collaboration will always happen. And as I said, when you grow in your career, you will be overseeing many functions.
Okay, and climb the managerial ladder and then grow up in your career path and all that.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Because how was the career path in PSU? I mean, when they join, they join as a graduate engineer trainee or something like that, and then they move up, right?
That PSU have some promotion on time basis. In some PSU
Okay.
it's time based, some PSU competence based, and some in some it's a both combination of everything. So if you see in the prominent oil sector companies, you have to that experience is there. That you must have 3 years of experience in that role, and then they will be doing 360 degree to know about your competency. They will be doing assessment test. They will be doing interview also. So it's all things combined. If you are very good, you will be getting a promotion in 3 years. Otherwise, it may go to 5 years also. In some PSU, it's a time bound. So everyone is going on the same pace until and unless something someone is doing very wrong and his CR is written in red color. Otherwise, everyone is going in same pace, and that that initiative is not there that you have to do something. But what HR people now feel that that is also one good concept that seniority should be respected, just like in a IAS, IPS, or administrative service. So in some PSU that is also there. In some PSU, ladders very few, 4 or 5 ladders in whole life. So in 30 years or 40 years, you will be getting 4 or 5 promotions. In some PSU, you will be getting 10 promotions or 12 promotions. So it's all depend from PSU to PSU. How the because with every promotion, it's a financial part is also there. Company has to give more financial support to you, more facilities there. So it's all depend on the company how they are performing, how they want to award their people. It's a
Okay. But
different
there is a
in PSU.
steady career path and career growth for all of them in the PSU.
Yes, you have to go on working hard, and you have to go on achieving that targets, whatever the target is there. So it's also not very easy because if you go on the ladder, so once you go up on in the pyramid, the opportunities are less and less. So very few people go up to the higher level.
Highest,
So
yeah.
5% only will go to that highest level. Otherwise, the smooth course is there up to middle management, or I will say up to higher management, the initial level of higher level management. Everyone is going. So
Wonderful.
it's career opportunity is there, but you have to work hard for that.
Okay. And climb up the career path,
Yes, exactly.
whatever field that they are into. Okay. Okay. And okay. Uh, Priya, with respect to solar energy and that area, so I mean, how is that growing? Because is that growing and opening up new roles and taking more people?
Yeah, I think India has a lot of ambitious plans for installing renewable energy, which includes solar and wind. And if you see in the last few years, we have really grown tremendously as a country with respect to installing renewable energy plants.
Okay.
Now, globally, India, next to China, India is also leading. And if we look at the forecast of how we are going to grow, there's a lot of plans how India wants to grow in renewable energy. And Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, has released some policies, and he has released some targets that he wants to achieve by certain year. So in the last 10 years, we have done an amazing job. And India is one of the top countries in the world who's installing renewable energy power plants. So both in wind and solar. And solar obviously is growing in a very, very rapid phase. For the type of opportunities or the type of companies in these power plants are, so the first one will be something called developers. Usually, these are the guys who own the projects, right? So if you look at government will release tenders where people have to go and bid for those projects, and there will be an auction. The auction will be released based on the tariff price. So the electricity price, they will release it, and based on that, whoever is quoting the lowest will win the tariff. And the company who wins the tariff, they are called developers. The developers has certain set of engineering functions with them, and then they will construct the power plant using EPC, which is engineering, procurement, construction. So the EPC has certain types of engineering functions, and the EPC is a company who will construct the power plant for the developers. Developers is one who owns the power plant, and after they construct the power plant, they will have a operation and maintenance. There are companies who will just purely do only service, so they're called O&M companies, operation maintenance companies. They will be purely so the developer will hire another company to take care of that plant. So there's an asset for the company, the developer, and he wants somebody to take care of that asset. So that will be given to a service company or an O&M company. So they have certain type of engineering functions under them. All of them have electrical engineering and electronic engineering opportunities.
Wow.
Apart from this, the products that are used in this whole power plant, right? So there's a manufacturing companies who deliver products. So those are another area where it's a manufacturing companies who provide products for this. That's another area also they require electrical engineering functions. So this is like I just really covered in a very top high level. But these are the various areas where electrical engineering functions are required.
And obviously, so they will require more workforce from, this
Yes,
stream.
yes. Workforce is yeah. I mean, now because of COVID, yes, there is a slump in hiring. A lot of companies have stopped hiring, but it should pick up. Probably in the next couple of months once we get back to normal, depending on how the company is doing.
Yeah. Okay.
But still, I believe still. I think the new grads are. I think there's still opportunities. I think available. It's not that they completely stopped hiring. Still hiring is happening, probably not in the way you would expect.
Yeah,
But
the
still
numbers
hiring
are
is
low, but I think it is
yeah,
picking up now.
yeah.
Okay. I think we are towards the end of the program, but I want to hear from Vikas on what will be your advice to the current students who want to enter the workforce, who are the next set of people, right, who will be entering our entry-level jobs in various companies. What will be your advice, especially in this current COVID situation?
COVID has given a very good opportunity for the youngsters. They got into their homes. I will say they are not wasting their time in extracurricular activities. So in the last 6 months or in the coming 3 months that Corona is going to stay. So whoever is passing in next April or May, so they should more concentrate on the basics. They should learn all the basics what they are learning, and they go back to their books, of second year, third year, fourth year, because it's all will be required in the GATE examination. And GATE examination, they will. It's a very intensive examination is there. Everything is asked. So it is time to revise third year, second year, first year. I will also say, but second year onwards, they have to revise every books so that they score perfectly well in coming GATE score in the next 3 months. So once they are getting a good GATE score, they will get into good PSU. See, because initial period is very important. If you are getting into a big company, that's very good. And second thing I will say in private sector, jobs problem will be there because what we are seeing in the newspaper and everything, job opportunity are getting less and less day by day. So it's better to concentrate on the GATE score, or better to concentrate that I have to get a job, or if they want to do further study. Because getting a job should not be the only criteria. They should go for the further studies also. They can go for the MTech and learn more things. More area is coming, just like solar energy is one of the area where new things are coming. So they should get into that MTech course in good IITs and good reputed engineering institutes. And they should not lose hope that in COVID less chances are there or less campus interviews there. Opportunity will be there. So I will say keep on working hard. Everyone will be rewarded.
Wonderful. Yeah. Priya, what will be your advice to the current set of students who are, going to enter the workforce?
Yeah. So I just took some notes so that I don't forget what I wanted to talk. So the first thing I would like to say, right, if you are really keen on staying in your core engineering job, right, like if you're, let's say, really keen on this is where I want to work and for my life. This is what I want to explore. And if you are able to spare another couple of years, you really, if you, from the financial background, there's no stress on you to take up a job. I really strongly recommend everyone to do a master's. So
Okay.
masters is when I think it will just open up for you on understanding certain things, and on also giving up some some giving you a it really opens up many things for you and for you to understand what you want to do. And even when you go and land up in a job, this whole master's experience is going to give you add more value. So that's the first thing you need to decide for yourself. If I want to be in a core engineering job, my recommendation is to be go and do a master's, because at some point in your life you will feel that you did not do it, because as you grow older, yes, there is always opportunity to study, but given the life experience I have had, even Kavita will vouch for it. There are other responsibilities that comes into your life, right? Then your limitations of the time limitation for you to spend on education becomes less. You need to prioritize. So then at that time you probably put your education as a lower priority when you grow older. So please think try I mean think more on this, and I recommend everyone that you should do a master's. That's a strong recommendation. The number two is the time that you have now, because everybody, you're taking online class and you're really not going to college and you're at home most of the time. Please go and take certification courses, like things on EDX. EDX offering amazing courses, right? Maybe all of them you might not be able to understand, but whatever is a topic that is relevant to you, take certification courses. Or if you don't want to pay, you can audit the course, but you can still put it in your resume. These courses are excellent. I myself taking some courses. They're really excellent and done by excellent professors. So please take advantage of all these free things available for you, and do that. Then, as I already said, don't miss the basics. And I think Vikas also stressed the point. We both have really stressed the point how the basic fundamentals are very, very important in the engineering field that you are in. Internship, I think we covered that also. From second year, start going for internship. Try to go as many internship as possible. This is where you tap into your alumni, or even your, for example, your parents are working in any company. Through them, you can ask if they can go in that company. Usually, employers are very friendly in taking their employees' children as internship. So your parents or your parents' friends, but you need to be constantly following up. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. Um, then, yeah, preparing for an interview itself, I think Kavita has this topic separately. So please connect with her and understand how you prepare for an interview. I think that's something many of the freshers lack, I believe, because I think you are don't have the right mentor for you to tell you how to prepare for an interview. So if you're going to a job, to an interview, please spend some time to research about the company, what product the company is working on. Try to understand that product, what is the basics. To some level, try to understand what the company is doing. Don't just go blindly for an interview, and take every interview seriously. Even if you already have a job, but if you have an opportunity to go and attend another interview, please take that seriously and prepare yourself an interview. And please attend Kavita session on how to prepare for an interview itself. I think that there's a lot of things you need to learn about how to prepare for an interview. Last but not the least is when you land on a job. Yes, landing on a job is itself, it's going to take some time and you need to put an effort. But once you land on a job, don't think everything is done, especially with private companies. You really need to put an effort and you need to prove yourself. You have to still prove yourself. Even today, if I don't perform well, I will be sent out of the company. Okay, there's always, everybody is with so many years of experience. I still have to go deliver a good perform, would be a good performer for me to grow in the career or stay with the job. So please focus on how you can do a good job. Take a lot of initiatives. Don't just sit and wait for somebody to tell you do this and then just finish and wait, right? Go and ask, go meet people, take initiatives. Especially the first 5 years, if you take a lot of initiatives, I really can guarantee you that you grow up amazingly in your career and you learn a lot of things. So I think those are things I wanted to cover today.
Okay, great. I think you've summed up everything. And, the continuous learning, what Priya mentioned, holds true across all industries at all levels. So it includes public sector also, and even beyond the electrical engineering, all the industries, wherever, I mean, it's not like when you join a company, it's all done. You need to be absolutely open to learn a lot of things and have this continuous learning as a mindset. Then start growing in whatever career you choose to do. So I think this session would have been extremely useful for all the EEE students currently who are pursuing their engineering and who are looking forward to join the workforce or higher studies, however the case may be. And I wish all the students all the very best. And thank you so much, Priya and Vikas. I know, despite your busy schedule, given this time exclusively for the students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kavita. And I think what you're doing is really great. I think many students do not get this kind of opportunity to interact with the industry people and the PSU people. So, for example, I learned a lot of things from Vikas today on what are the opportunities available in PSU. I didn't have very much awareness on this. So, thank you so much for the opportunity and best wishes to all the students.
Thank you, Priya. Because you're on mute.
Thank you, Kavita, and thank you, Priya, also for giving all these suggestions. And what you have said is very correct, that you have to go on taking responsibility, and one should try to give it 100% best, and certainly every student will excel in their own way. So thanks, Kavita, and thanks, Priya, for all.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.